Right. It says recording. Has it asked you if that's all right? Does it tell you it's recording?
No, it just doesn't ask me any questions.
Okay. You know, I think it's good to encourage everyone to sing. So
yeah, I think so. I think it's good to have more than one feather to your cap.
Yeah.
So if you're a keyboard player that sings, you're going to get more work than a keyboard player. I mean, even if you can keep harmony and keep a tune, you're going to get more work as a guitarist or a keyboard player that can sing.
And I guess if you're an instrumentalist, that's that thing of sort of practicing, playing and singing at the same time, rather than sort of waiting until you're on the gig and someone says, oh, can you sing this line? You know, so I suppose that's another element to practice. Absolutely.
And as far as being an instrumentalist is concerned, also, you know, like I know, like I've done gigs and I've got like a saxophonist next to me, and they are used to being soloists in their own right.
Like the lead voice, the lead player.
Yeah, and then suddenly they're playing next to a vocalist and they don't give you any room to breathe.
No.
And they're playing all over you.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay. Stop.
Little friend. Yeah.
Could you not play that bit? That's the bit when I do. That's the bit, and you've got to find a way of talking to musicians as well. But I think that's something that you learn with your craft, and sometimes it is about sitting down and listening to a piece from end to end without playing and thinking to yourself, okay, what is happening here? I work with different artists and I ask them how they songwrite and how they get to this finished position of being in the studio, and now they're going to, and some of them don't really study what they do. It's really interesting to watch the process, I find. And so sometimes when you're listening to recorded music, you can probably hear the process that's happened.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess that's a skill within itself of communicating what you want. So from you know, your experience, if someone's having to tell you what they want, obviously I imagine it can be frustrating at times if they haven't got the terminology to tell you what that is. And I guess that's just a trial and error thing when you're in that situation.
But then you've got to interpret that as a vocalist. When somebody says things to you like, I don't feel like you're in the room. I don't feel like you're connecting with the song. I've been listening to this for about 20 minutes and you want me to connect with the tune right now at this minute.
Yeah.
And what that really means is that there needs to be an urgency in your voice or more passion.
Yeah.
Think about the lyric that you're singing, you know. But it's tricky to try and interpret what people hear in their heads and then get it and record it for them and make it sound like they heard it in their head. An artist that I work with, he doesn't like call and response. So if he sings a line, he doesn't want you to sing back what he's singing. He goes, no, I want it another way. I want you to, and then you find yourself, you don't want to give over your idea of it because you are getting paid to be the backing vocalist. Yeah. So my hope is that they've worked it out to the point where they can sing it to me what they want.
Yeah.
What I would do is completely different to what they would do.
Yeah.
And once you give over your idea, they will claim it as theirs.
Yeah. That's so for your album.
Exactly. So the best thing is to stay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful. Okay. And then they will say things like, and what would you do here? Oh, I don't know. Sometimes you've got to play the fool to catch wise. Otherwise, you find yourself rewriting somebody's song or adding adding a sweet part to the bridge or the middle eight, and you don't get any recognition for that.
No, and also it's you want that original idea, that to be the the thing. That's their job, isn't it? That's why.
Unless you're going to put written by blah 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 and Mary Pearce. That is the only way I'm giving it up. I learned that in the early days, really, really quickly. A girlfriend of mine who I do backing vocals with sometimes, recording. And when you have that moment where you've recorded the line and then you like the song so much, you start to sing.
Yeah.
You start to sing the chorus another way. And they're like, oh, we like what you just did there. Can we have that? And my girlfriend, she would just look at me like this. The session was nearly finished, Mary.
What did it all come at once? So you sort of had your own thing that you were, developing as a singer, and then BVs came along and you started getting known for that, or did you sort of target that? So well, that's work, and
it's a really difficult road to travel, to be a vocalist, an artist, and a backing vocalist. You will eventually be known for one thing or the other.
Yeah,
it's a very difficult road to be in both camps. To be an artist and a backing vocalist, it's pretty much impossible. One side of your career will suffer.
Yeah.
And you can be productive and creative and make your own music, but it will get to climb to a certain level and then stay there, and you will be regarded as a consumer and all of that. But when I started, I thought I was going to be the artist, and I've had record deals and this one and that one, and sung for different artists, and been featured on great big
lots of stuff,
selling stuff. But it's the artist that you're singing for is the artist that's going to get the real recognition. Very difficult to do both. And
I guess it's a quite sort of different set of skills for each as well, I suppose. So I guess that's something you have to.
Yeah, I mean, learning how to be a backing vocalist is as much as knowing when to sing and when to pull back, when to be just quiet and let the artists do their thing. Some artists are very magnanimous with the creativity, and they'll say things to you like, sorry.
That's the plumber. Go for it.
Hello, Gary.
We were just saying about, doing backing vocals being quite a specific set of skills.
Yeah, learning about blending voices, because you've got to blend your voice with somebody that you've never met before.
Yeah.
They've either got to come up to where you are, or you've got to and it's not an up and down thing, but I mean, you've got to find where your voices meet, and it's a nice sound. And does it help? Does it go with the other vocalist, with the lead vocalist? Yeah.
So when you say blend, obviously that's a balancing. But do you mean is there a range of tone as well? You've got. I mean, presumably you have to have quite a big range of tone if you're trying to fit in with people.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm a mezzo alto, really. So, but I can sing tenor as well. So. But invariably, it's usually a male vocalist who's doing tenor, me doing alto, and then a soprano. And we'll find a way of making the three voices just sound linear, trying to make them work in the same way, no matter what song we're singing. you know, whether I've sung in Spanish, I've sung in Japanese, I've sung in Italian, I've sung in French. So you've got to find a way, and you know, and a different intonation on a piece can change your whole phrase.
Yeah.
So you know, and sometimes I've learned it when I was singing in Spanish. At first, I was learning it. I sang it phonetically, so that, and I literally wrote down the sounds, even though I didn't know what everything that I was singing, what it meant. But then I was singing in Spanish for so long that I thought, you know what, I better go off and learn. So I did. I went and took a Spanish lesson, and then learned what I was singing properly. So yeah, I think the tone of your voice makes sense, and you know, just knowing when to just pull back a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, presumably you exercise your voice, and you know, you keep developing your voice, or you know, are you at a point now where you know what your voice is going to do, and you?
Well, no, I mean, I think like with any muscle, you know, the voice has to be worked.
Yeah.
And, you know, during this time that we are living in, you've got to work it, because I'm not working as much because of the pandemic. So I'm not working as much, but then you've got to kind of work it. So my first thing when I wake up in the mornings, I literally go into the bathroom, I look in the mirror and I go, okay, it's still there.
Yeah.
You know,
my wife does that when she sees me in the morning. She goes, ah!
But I do check that it's still there in the mornings, and you know, and then I do a little bit of me me mama moo, and then take it out, me me mara moo, me me mara moo, me me mara moo, you know, just to kind of exercise that bit. Then I do a little bit of like physical stretching.
Yeah.
And if your session starts at 11, you need to be up at 7 to make sure that by the time you get to the studio for 11, that you've got a 2 o'clock in the afternoon voice.
Yeah.
You know, because what my voice sounds like at 8 isn't what it sounds like at 11, and isn't what it sounds like at 2. But you've kind of, you want to give your best every time and be ready. There's no point in you rocking up to the studio sounding like that. Exactly. You want to be ready, and not only turn up sounding good, but turn up looking and smelling good too.
Oh yeah, I always forget that bit.
Don't have a garlic supper the night before.
No, that's especially if you're in a vocal booth with someone.
Warm-ups, find out from other singers, even if you can find out from a singer what one warm-up that they do that you don't do. Yeah. And you know, when you're on tour, you know, I've done tours that have lasted like a year, and your voice, you know, you get tired. So you want to sound as fresh halfway through a 17-week tour, and at the end of the tour you want to sound as fresh as you did at the beginning. Yeah. So if you have got a day off somewhere, you want the urge is to go out and just have a great time, and you know, but then I'm like, I'm going to bed early because I want to wake up tomorrow feeling fresh. We did a gig in December at Wembley, and obviously because of the times that we're living in, we hadn't done a gig leading up to it. So we had 6 days of rehearsal, which was pretty cool, but everybody had to be safe. But we did 6 days of rehearsal. We all had to kind of work in a bubble and go straight home. By the time we got to the gig on the following Saturday, we did the gig and it was great and it was over. But on Sunday, I was exhausted.
Really, really felt
it. Because it had been so long
yeah.
since I had done that kind of full on. It's a very physical thing being a musician and singer, and it's a very physical thing, and it's mental challenges as well, you know, because sometimes with artists things can change on a dime. You might have played that song for the last 5 years, and then on the day the artist will come in and say, yeah, we're not going to do it that way today, we're going to change it. But why? But why do you want to change it?
Yeah, I'm kind of used to having about 3 minutes notice of rehearsal. I don't get 6 days of rehearsal with anything. But anyway, that's the gigs I do. I was wondering what your response is to someone that says, "Oh, I can't sing," because you get that thing. There's you hear people say everyone can sing, or do you just say, "No, you're right, you can't sing"? How would you respond?
Well, the whole thing about everyone can sing, I think is fair enough. Everyone can sing, but can everybody make a living out of it is something else.
Yeah.
So, I would say that everyone can sing, but should everyone sing is something else. But I think if you can hold a tune and learn your craft, as you say, and practice your scales and try and learn your harmonies and stuff like that, I think that would be the best thing you could do as far as being a singer. Just like you would just like you would learn your notes on your guitar or chords for your piano, you've got to do the same for
yeah. I mean, was there a point where a single point where you realized you wanted to do singing for a living? Did it just kind of happen? Or
I was about 3 years old, babe. I loved
Oh, really?
it.
Wow.
Yeah.
You knew?
Every opportunity that I got to sing and show off, I did. But then I listened back to recordings of myself as a sort of a 14-year-old, and I'm like, what do you sound like? That was when I was trying to emulate other singers.
Yeah.
So, but finding your own voice is something else, Oh my God, we did a Christopher Columbus musical at school, rightly or wrongly, and I remember the lyrics for it.
Really?
I think somewhere in a keepsake box, I still have like the program or God. I still have the program or the script for it.
Yeah.
Somewhere. I must have ships. Oh, where can I find them? He must have ships to carry out this plan. I need a conqueror for this ride to top the Western Passage to the Indies and Japan. Wow. Why do I remember that?
That's amazing. I have no idea why it hasn't been on the West End yet. I guess you need that experience early on, don't you? The earlier experiences that you have, the better. But have you got any other favourite gigs apart from Christopher Columbus the musical?
Donna Summer was a joy. She was
that Hyde Park or somewhere like that? Was it?
No. I was in her European band for about a year. Every time she came to Europe, we were her band for a bit. And that was awesome. She was a really lovely person, really nice to us and kind and gracious, which was, somebody of that sort of ilk, you kind of a bit like, oh. But she was lovely. Shaka Khan, lovely. And some artists I've worked for years, but only in studio. and not live. And then there are some people that I've only worked for live and not in the studio. So, you know, you can't always have it that you're the, it's funny, some artists are like that. The person that they use for their recordings isn't the person that they use for live.
No.
But I've been quite lucky. Right place, right time.
Yeah, a bit more than luck, but you know.
I think I lost my my want for being creative for a bit, but it's coming back right now.
Yeah.
Now my daughter's back at school.
No,
now
I think
she's back at school, I've got more time for it.
I think that's a good point. I think I've sort of come to realize it's actually, you know, when you're working on other people's projects, it's really quite important to have your own creative outlet, even if it's just in your back bedroom or something, you're just recording. I think that's quite important. But I guess time, isn't it, if you're on the road. Have you found, I mean, with, you know, coronavirus aside, have you found that things have changed a lot over the last, you know, decade or even couple of decades, I suppose?
Yeah. Music is being made more readily now because of how the computer, you know, your laptop is your studio that you can walk with, and if you've got a, you know, even I've got a little, my laptop and my interface and my microphone upstairs. I mean, I'm getting a new sort of taste of what music is out there because I have a 9-year-old child, and I try to play her the classics as well. But then, you know, she wants to play now. That's what I call music 325. She wants to play those tunes.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but I'm teaching her about rap music. I'm teaching her about jazz. I'm teaching her about pop and R&B and where it comes from. And I came to Prince really late.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Really late. I missed it. I mean, when he was in his heyday with When Doves Cry, that was my favorite tune of his. But then I had the fortune of being in a band that was supporting Prince when he did 21 Days at the O2.
Oh, yeah.
And 21 Nights at the O2 Arena. And I had the pleasure of meeting him and getting a cuddle.
Wow, that's good. I like that.
And he was
he would do those late night. He'd show Indigo, wasn't it? He'd show up at the late night thing after the gig.
That's right. And we did the late night show with him. So we started off, and we played a set, and there was the place was full. The O2 was full. With 20,000 people or whatever they have, and then the Indigo was full, and some people had seen it at the O2 and then paid extra to come to the Indigo and watch it again. Yeah, so I was sitting on the side of the stage. There was this throne, kind of really high back chair, and I was sitting on the throne, you know, cross-legged, just mouth is gone.
Yeah.
Prince, and he went on and played another 2 hours. So we did like 3 hours at the O2. At the Indigo, we did another 3 hours. I mean, he would have gone on and on and on and on and on and on. And we left from that and then went to backstage, and he came off backstage and I was off the side of the stage, and he came up and he said, "I really enjoyed your voice tonight." I was like, he said, you're a really great singer. And I said, "You're not so bad yourself, darling." And I said, "Can I have a cuddle?" He went, "Of course you can."
Wow. That's something to remember, isn't it?
Yeah, man, it was awesome. And, you know, and I said, honestly, I've enjoyed every single moment. I will never forget tonight. It was unbelievable. Yeah, there have been some there have been some jaw-dropping moments that I've had over the years. You know, the Prince thing, the Michael Jackson thing. Didn't know.
Yeah.
You've got a session. Okay, when? Tomorrow? Yeah. How many? Okay, there's a few singers, but you're on the session. Okay, cool. Who's the artist? Not allowed to tell you. What? And that does come about sometimes.
Yeah. And he was there, right?
Michael Jackson was there.
Yeah.
And it was one of these moments where everybody's like, you know, people were speculating still in the green room as to who it was.
Yeah.
And we got there, and the girl that had booked us were like, who is it? She goes, I'm not allowed to say until we're all inside. And once we're inside, the door was like locked. Couldn't leave until we had lunch. We had a lunch break. There was stuff, but you couldn't leave. They asked you not to leave. And so that nobody could go and run and tell the paps that he was there. Anyway, but we did this whole session. But when we were in the recording booth, you know, a bit in the room, yeah. We were all sort of standing there, and then he came into the recording suite. He was sort of standing watching us, and there were a couple of questions about the parts. No, it's like, you ask. No, you ask. And I went, excuse me, you know the line where we're singing family? Can we sing fam-illy as opposed to fam-mully? And the producer said, they making us look like unprofessionals. Let's tidy this up, ladies and gentlemen. I said, oh, your talkback's still on. Right, sorry. He was embarrassed. But we did it. And, you know, Michael said that we sounded great, although he didn't speak directly to us. He spoke to somebody who said, Michael said, you guys sounded great.
Right, okay.
But we took like a photograph with him. I was the one that stepped forward and said, could we have a photograph with him, please?
That's a big one. That's a big one.
So, you know, unfortunately, you know, the artists that I've mentioned to you all since passed away. Yeah. I'm not an unlucky singer. But
I'm not doing any more gigs with you. I'm not risking it.
And then there's the advert side of things that's been amazing, you know, doing ads.
Yeah.
And you think, okay, but it's a good section of music to get into. You know, being, you know, where you've got to, I did one for Bird's Eye last year, and not last year, 2019. And, you know, and I had to be a sweet corn.
Oh, okay.
You know, but, and then ones where I've done like just ident music for Channel 4 or theme songs for the One show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
One.
That's you.
And, I mean, I've done film score as well, and the director is in America, and he's just talking to us over the internet. And then there's a producer there, and he's like, okay, so you can imagine that these are warriors going to war, and, you know, they want this, just like this droney sound. And then now they are coming out, they've won the war. What sound would you make? Yeah! And then somebody's doing, yeah, yeah, you know, and... Yeah. You've got to interpret that, but you get to see the film, thank God, in front of you sometimes.
Yeah.
And you do it that way.
Yeah, I guess it's one of those. Those are probably quite hard because you. It's not until it's all pieced together that you know
exactly
what effect is requiring. But
I was singing in Russian that day.
Oh right, okay. People often say I'm Russian.
Oh, really?
I'm a drummer.
Rushing. Oh, wow.
See, we missed Panto this year, so got to get them.
Stretch, my God.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to let you get on and sort your plumber out. That sounds a bit. That's a bit X-rated. So yeah, we'll move on.
All right, then, darling.
But thanks, Mary. It's been brilliant talking
I hope
to you.
that's okay.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Yeah, because as I say, I'm sure there's things in there that people will find really useful and just help them move on to the next step.
Yeah. Just be kind, be nice to people, learn your craft, be nice.
Lovely to see you.
Yeah.
And yeah, hopefully we'll catch up at some point, face to face.
Oh my God, yeah, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck with your plumbing.